very small group today.
New year.
The new year. That's okay. You know, I was thinking about, when I was reading Bereshit, about words and what words mean. The snake knew that his words had power. And then I thought about keeping our word. Living Torah is not the same as knowing Torah. Showing up, simply showing up, is not the same as doing. I remember when I first came back to Montreal, and the first person actually that I met at my cousin's house was a Christian missionary. And she told me two things. She said, the most important things that you should do as a believer, the first one she always says is tithe. And God will bless you. Even if you think you have nothing to give, give. But the second one, she says, is be available. And I realized that being available, even that is not enough. Because you may say you're available, but what are you going to do with that? How far are you willing to take it? And I keep thinking about our word. I remember when I was young, it was never put into me how important my word was. And I always thought, you know, I could say something, and if I didn't do it, it didn't make a difference. I could sign a contract, and there's always a way to get out of it. I didn't have the understanding of the value of my word. And then it says in this Torah portion that we are made in His image. So He breathed His ruach, His breath, into us. He put His word into us, which means that every word that comes out of us either reflects Him or reflects away from Him. And so now I really am learning. It's a very difficult process to learn how important our word is. There are consequences for when we don't keep our word, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us, because we really let them down. God doesn't fool around when He warns us about guarding, shomer, His word. I remember Rabbi Yeshua said to let our yes be yes and our no be no. And the last part stems from evil, when we don't do it. And that's pretty serious. How can we possibly believe that we'll be blessed and that our prayers will be answered if we don't keep our word? Doesn't He say He's going to turn His face from us? There was a time when a handshake was an unbreakable bond. When we refused to sign a contract because we think our word is like gold, but then we break our word over and over, how can we possibly wonder why God isn't blessing us and why our lives are not succeeding? Do we say that we'll return something to someone if we borrow it and then not give it back? Do we say that we're going to do something and then don't do it? Do we say that we're going to pay for something later and then conveniently forget to pay it? Do we volunteer to do something and then we don't do it? Keeping our word is not only about the big things in life, it's the small things that count. How often does a husband or wife say that he or she is going to do something and then they don't? This can destroy a relationship over time because they learn that they can't trust the other person and they lose respect for that person. And once we lose respect, it's really hard to get it back. And this also pertains to friendships. I have people who call themselves my friend, and they've told me that they were going to do something. They promise that I'll do it, and they never do. I hope that I'm not such a friend. It's not that I'm judging their intentions, because I'm sure they truly intended to do it. But isn't it written that faith without works is dead? If we say we're going to do something, let's do it. Everyone in this room has done this to one extent or another, including me. But when we recognize it, let's take the steps to change our behavior, for it is not honoring the Borei Olam, who we serve. However, if we refuse to learn and keep on not keeping our word, for whatever reasons, then let us not think that the Borei Olam will not notice. Shabbat Shalom.